Right, 42 degrees in Alice Springs, while Hobart is sitting at just 11. That is a 31-degree difference across the country, and your town could be about to experience something pretty unusual over the next 72 hours. Currently, the Bureau of Meteorology has severe weather warnings active for parts of Western Australia, and we're rewatching a developing situation that got over 3 million Australians in its path. I am going to break down exactly when this hits your specific location in the next 60 seconds. But first, chuck your city or region in the comments right now, because tomorrow I'll be doing personalised forecasts for every location you mention. Sydney, rain arrives Friday evening around 7, heaviest overnight into Saturday morning. Melbourne, you're re-looking at showers developing Saturday arvo, clearing Sunday. Brisbane and the Gold Coast, scattered storms Thursday afternoon, then drying out through the weekend. Perth, you've got a heat spike coming Thursday, hitting 39 degrees before a Friday cool change. Adelaide, relatively stable conditions until Sunday when we see a front move through. Hobart, cool and showery through Friday, improving Saturday. Darwin, typical monsoonal activity with afternoon storms daily through to next Tuesday. Now, here's the thing about this forecast. The models are showing some pretty significant differences right now, and I reckon we need to talk about that because it affects every decision you're remaking for the next week. Access, our Australian model, is currently tracking a low-pressure system off the west coast that could bring some serious rainfall to the Pilbara and Kimberley regions. We're re-talking potentially 150 to 200 millimetres in some areas. But the European model, the ECMWF, it has got this system tracking further south, which would mean Perth and the southwest could cop the heaviest falls instead. This 100-kilometre difference changes everything for Western Australia. Tomorrow morning S-model runs should give us better clarity, so definitely check back. For those of you in Broome, Port Hedland, Karratha and up through the Kimberley, this is something to watch closely. The Bureau hasn't issued cyclone warnings yet, but tropical low development isn't completely off the table. It is sitting at about a 20% chance right now. Even if it doesn't develop into a cyclone, we are still looking at gale force winds potentially hitting 80 to 100 kilometres per hour along the coast. Let me be specific about timing for the west. Thursday morning, conditions start deteriorating around Broome. By Thursday evening, winds picking up significantly through Port Hedland and Karratha. Friday, that is when we see the peak impact, particularly through the Pilbara coast. Saturday morning, system moves inland, weakens considerably, but still delivering rain to places like Newman, Tom Price and Paraburdoo. Now, jumping across to the east coast, Newcastle, Wollongong, you're both looking at Friday evening showers, nothing too dramatic, 15 to 25 millimetres. Coffs Harbour, bit more action for you. Storms Thursday afternoon could deliver 30 to 40 mils. Wagga Wagga, staying relatively dry through to Sunday. Dubbo, light showers Saturday. Victoria, let's talk about you for a minute. Geelong, Ballarat, Bendigo, Shepparton, you are all in for a pretty similar pattern. Saturday afternoon showers developing, patchy rain continuing through Saturday night, then clearing Sunday morning. Not heavy falls, we're re-talking 10 to 20 millimetres for most areas. The Dandenongs might see a bit more, possibly 30 to 35 mils on the ranges. Queensland, bit of a mixed bag for you lot. Townsville and Cairns, you are dealing with typical wet season conditions. Afternoon storms, heavy at times, but nothing out of the ordinary. We are looking at daily totals between 20 and 60 millimetres through to early next week. Sunshine Coast, you've got storms Thursday, then a brief dry spell Friday and Saturday before moisture returns Sunday. Toowoomba, you're looking pretty good. Mostly dry conditions through to the weekend. Here's one thing that's got me a bit concerned though. There's a signal developing in the Coral Sea for mid-February. Now, I'm not saying this is definite, but the longer range models are consistently showing an area of potential development. We're re-talking 10 to 14 days out, so there's massive uncertainty here, but it's worth keeping an eye on. Check back tomorrow because this picture should become clearer. South Australia, Mount Gambier, you're in for some strong winds Sunday. Westerlies pushing 60 to 70 km an hour. Whyalla and Port Augusta, relatively calm through Friday and Saturday. Then similar windy conditions Sunday. The agricultural areas, mid-north and York Peninsula, you are looking at some useful rainfall Sunday into Monday, probably 20 to 40 millimetres. Tasmania, Launceston and Devonport, you are both tracking similar to Hobart. Friday showers, easing Saturday, then another system possible early next week. The West Coast, Strahan area, bit wetter than the east. You could see 50 to 70 mils Friday. Northern Territory, Alice Springs, you're in for those extreme temps I mentioned at the start. Wednesday 42 degrees, Thursday 43, Friday potentially pushing 44 before a slight easing over the weekend. This is serious heat, particularly compounded by overnight minimums only dropping to 26, 27 degrees. That means no relief. If you are doing physical work outdoors, you need to be taking this seriously. Heat exhaustion and heat stroke are real risks at these temperatures. Catherine, you are looking at 36 to 38 daily with afternoon storms providing some relief. The models are having a bit of a disagreement about Saturday's weather for southeast Queensland and northeast New South Wales. Access is showing a weak trough, bringing scattered showers from Brisbane down to Byron Bay and Lismore. But GFS, the American model, it is keeping things drier. This matters because if that trough develops like Access suggests, we could see 30 to 50 millimetres. Without it, maybe 5 to 10 mils at most. By Friday afternoon, we'll know which scenario is more likely. Let me talk about fire danger ratings. Currently, we've got elevated fire danger through inland New South Wales, particularly around Hay, Griffith and Broken Hill. With temperatures pushing the high 30s and relative humidity dropping to 15 to 20%, total fire ban days are possible Friday and Saturday for the Riverina and Western districts. If you are in these areas and you've got plans for burning off or any outdoor activities involving fire, delay them. Hang on. Let me clarify that Western Australia situation I mentioned earlier because there is another element I should explain. It is not just about whether this system becomes a tropical cyclone or stays as a low. It is about the compounding factors. We've got sea surface temperatures off the Pilbara coast sitting at 29 to 30 degrees, which is fuel for intensification. We've got light upper level winds, which means minimal wind shear. And we've got favourable outflow patterns developing. Put all that together, and if this system gets far enough offshore and has time to develop, we could be looking at something quite significant by late next week. But that S still 5 to 7 days away, so plenty can change. Back to Victoria quickly. Warrnambool, Portland, you are both looking at potentially some decent rainfall Saturday. Current estimates 30 to 50 millimetres, possibly higher on elevated areas. This cold front coming through is bringing some proper winter-like conditions, even though we are still in summer. Melbourne, you might even see temperatures struggle to reach 18 degrees on Saturday. Around the 3-minute mark now, and I want to remind you to drop your location in the comments. Seriously, I read every single one, and tomorrow S forecast, I'll be calling out specific towns and suburbs that UV mentioned. Canberra, you are sitting at around 28 Thursday, 24 Friday, then cooler Saturday and Sunday with possible showers both days. Not heavy, probably 10 to 15 mils total. Orange and Bathurst, similar story, but you'll be a few degrees cooler given the elevation. Here's what I am watching for tomorrow S forecast. That Western Australia system, is it tracking north or south of the current forecast track? The Coral Sea development signal, are models maintaining consistency or starting to back away from that idea? And southeast Queensland S Saturday trough, which model solution is correct? These three elements are going to shape the next week S weather for most of Australia. Let us talk compounding threats for a second. Perth, you've got that Thursday heat I mentioned, 39 degrees, but it's not just the temperature. When you factor in your typical afternoon sea breeze, the Fremantle Doctor failing to develop due to the synoptic pattern, you are looking at conditions that feel more like 42 or 43 degrees through the eastern suburbs. Midland, Armidale, those inland areas, you could genuinely be looking at feels like temperatures approaching 45 degrees. That's dangerous territory. Northern New South Wales, Tamworth, Armidale, Inverell, you're all tracking reasonably pleasant conditions through to Saturday. Temperatures low to mid-30s, typical summer weather. No severe storms expected, though you might see the odd afternoon thunderstorm pop up Friday. Rockhampton and Gladstone, you're both in that zone where we might see increased storm activity Sunday and Monday if that trough develops like some models suggest. Keep an eye on updates because 24 hours ago models weren't showing this at all. Central Australia, Tennant Creek, you are sitting in that transitional zone where the monsoon moisture from the north is trying to push south but not quite making it. You'll see cloud building each afternoon, maybe the odd shower or storm, but nothing organised. Temperatures daily around 37 to 39 degrees. Actually, I need to mention something about next week. There is a signal developing for a significant cold outbreak for southern Australia around Tuesday or Wednesday next week. I am talking Melbourne potentially not getting above 16 degrees, Adelaide 18. Even Sydney might struggle to hit 22. This is early days and I don't want to oversell it, but if you've got outdoor events planned for the middle of next week, maybe have a backup plan. We'll definitely have more detail on this tomorrow. Mildura and Swan Hill, you are both tracking hot and dry through the weekend. 38 Thursday, 39 Friday, 37 Saturday. Sunday brings that cool change finally, dropping you back to around 30 degrees. A few showers are possible with that change, but Don T expects significant rainfall. Mackay, you are looking at scattered showers and storms through to Sunday. Nothing severe, just typical wet season activity. Airlie Beach and the Whitsundays, similar story. Conway National Park might see some heavier falls on the ranges, potentially 40 to 60 mils by Sunday, but coastal areas lighter. The Great Australian Bight is generating a decent swell that is going to impact southern coastline beaches Friday through Sunday. Margaret River, Esperance, you are looking at waves building to 4 to 5 metres Friday, possibly 6 metres Saturday. These are dangerous conditions. If you're re-heading to the beach, swim between the flags and check with Surf Lifesaving for current conditions. Gippsland Coast, Wilson's Promontory, Lakes Entrance, you are also seeing building seas, though not as large as the West Coast. 3 to 4 metres Saturday, easing Sunday. Still, be cautious if you're reboating or fishing. Western Queensland, Longreach, Charleville, Birdsville, you're all staying dry and hot through the weekend. 40 to 42 degrees daily, with overnight temps only dropping to mid-20s. This is tough conditions for livestock, so if you are in the pastoral industry, make sure water supplies are adequate. Ballina, Lismore, Gold Coast hinterland, you are all in that zone where forecast uncertainty is highest for Saturday. Could be dry, could be wet, genuinely depends on which model solution verifies. I know that S frustrating, but it S honest. Check back tomorrow for a clearer picture. Hobart, I should mention those Friday showers could be heavy at times. We're re-looking at a band moving through during the morning commute, so roads could be slippery. 10 to 25 mils expected, heaviest between 7 and 11 in the morning. Far North Queensland, Wiper, Thursday Island, URE both tracking typical monsoon conditions. Daily storms, heavy at times, but nothing organised. This is just background wet season activity. Darwin, I mentioned your afternoon storms earlier. Thursday looks particularly active. Models showing storm cells developing around 2 p.m, moving west to east across the city. Could see some brief heavy rainfall and gusty winds. Bundaberg and Hervey Bay, you are tracking mild conditions through to Sunday. Partly cloudy, chance of isolated afternoon showers, but nothing significant. Temperatures pleasantly in the low 30s. Around the 12-minute mark now, last chance to drop your location in the comments. Tomorrow's forecast, I promise I'll call out specific areas that you've mentioned. Let me come back to fire danger for inland areas. Mildura through to Broken Hill, across to Griffith and down to Balranald. You're all in elevated fire danger through Friday and Saturday. Grass fuel loads are dry after a relatively warm and dry January. Any spark has the potential to become something serious. We not at catastrophic levels, but we certainly at high to very high. Kangaroo Island, you are looking at strong winds Saturday, similar to what mainland South Australia is getting. Westerlies 50 to 60 km an hour, gusting to 75. Secure loose items Friday afternoon. Albury-Wodonga, you are sitting right on that border, obviously, and you are tracking relatively pleasant conditions through Friday. Saturday brings a cool change with possible showers, but not heavy. Sunday improving, looking at rainfall totals for the 7-day period ahead. Here's the broad picture. Western Australia, Pilbara and Kimberley, potentially 50 to 150 mils, isolated heavier totals possible. Far North Queensland, 30 to 80 mils, typical wet season amounts. Southeast Queensland, anywhere from 5 to 60 mils, depending on whether that Saturday trough develops. New South Wales, East Coast, 10 to 30 mils for most areas. Victoria, 10 to 25 mils for southern and eastern districts. Tasmania, 20 to 50 mils, heaviest on the west coast. South Australia, 10 to 30 mils, mainly western districts. Northern Territory, top end, 40 to 100 mils, standard monsoon activity. Final temperature outlook for major cities through the 7-day period. Sydney, ranging from 24 to 31 degrees. Melbourne, 15 to 27 degrees. Brisbane, 26 to 33 degrees. Perth, 26 to 39 degrees. Adelaide, 19 to 34 degrees. Hobart, 11 to 22 degrees. Darwin, 26 to 33 degrees. Canberra, 14 to 28 degrees. I've covered a lot of ground in this forecast, but the key takeaways are these. Western Australia watching a developing system that could bring significant impacts next week. Models still disagree on track and intensity. Eastern Australia tracking relatively normal summer conditions with isolated storm activity. Fire danger elevated for inland areas Friday and Saturday. And there are signals for more active weather mid-February that we need to keep monitoring. Look, I know forecasts can change and I want to be straight with you about that. What I am telling you now is based on the best available data from this afternoon S model runs. By tomorrow, some of this will have shifted. That S not because the forecast was wrong, it S because we get new information constantly. Tomorrow's forecast, I'll be diving deeper into that Western Australia situation because we'll have 24 hours of additional model data. I'll also be revisiting the Southeast Queensland Saturday situation, and we should have much better clarity on that, and I'll be starting to focus more on that early next week, cold outbreak for the south. Remember to drop your location in the comments. Tomorrow I'll be calling out specific regions and suburbs that you've mentioned. Before I wrap up, just want to say thanks for watching. Weather forecasting for a country as vast and diverse as Australia is challenging. We've got tropical systems in the north, temperate systems in the south, and desert heat in the centre, all happening simultaneously. Next video drops tomorrow afternoon around 4 p.m. I'll have updated model data from overnight, the latest Bureau of Meteorology warnings, and hopefully much better clarity on several of these uncertain elements I've mentioned today. Thanks for sticking with me through this detailed forecast. Stay safe, especially those of you in the heat through inland areas this weekend. Check on elderly neighbours, make sure pets have shade and water, and take it easy during peak heat hours. Right, that's it from me. Catch you in tomorrow.